Think about the last time you walked into a room and just exhaled. Not because you were tired, not because you sat down, but because something about that space made your body physically relax before your brain even had time to process what was happening. Maybe it was a quiet cafe with big windows and warm light. Maybe it was a library, a garden, or even just a friend's apartment that somehow felt like a hug. And then think about the opposite: a hospital waiting room, a crowded shopping mall, a basement office with humming fluorescent lights. You walk in and your shoulders go up, your jaw tightens. Something feels wrong, even though nothing is technically wrong. Here's the strange part. You probably couldn't explain either feeling. You just felt it. So what's actually happening? Why do some places make you feel calm the moment you enter them, almost like the building itself is telling you you're safe here? The answer goes deeper than pretty interiors or expensive materials. It's about how your brain reads the world around you. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a building the same way again. Architects have been chasing this feeling for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks called it eurythmia, a harmony that makes a space feel right without you knowing why. The Japanese have a word, ma, meaningful empty space. The idea that what's not there matters just as much as what is. But you don't need to be an architect to feel it. Every single person on Earth responds to space, every single one. Because your brain has been wired to read environments for survival, long before cities, buildings, or architecture even existed. So the real question isn't what makes a place beautiful. It's what makes a place feel safe. Because peace, it turns out, is just your nervous system deciding it doesn't need to be on guard anymore. Let's start with light, because it's the first thing your brain processes when you enter any space. Imagine two rooms, identical size, same furniture. In one room, a single harsh bulb in the ceiling. In the other, a large window, light spilling softly across the floor in uneven patches. Most people feel more comfortable in the second room, even if the first one is technically brighter. Why? Soft, directional light mimics what your brain recognizes as natural. Sunlight through trees, the glow at golden hour, the warmth of a fire. Your brain has millions of years of data that says this kind of light means I'm okay. Harsh, even artificial light is a modern invention. Offices, airports, supermarkets, places designed for efficiency, not comfort. Your nervous system knows the difference. Now, let's talk about scale. Close your eyes for a second and imagine walking into a medieval cathedral. The doors open. The ceiling climbs 40, 50, 60 meters above you. Light pours through stained glass in long colored shafts. The sound of your footsteps fades into silence before it returns. Something happens to you in that moment. Psychologists call it awe, a state where you feel small, but connected to something much larger than yourself. Your daily worries shrink. Your problems feel, just for a moment, less important. Medieval architects understood this intuitively. The height wasn't structural, it was emotional. But awe and peace are different things. Now imagine a low-ceilinged cottage, a fire, a wooden beam just above your head. That doesn't create awe. It creates something cozier, what psychologists call enclosure, a sense of being held, protected. This is why children instinctively build blanket forts. This is why you pull a hood over your head even when it's not cold. Peaceful spaces almost always balance these two things: enough height to feel free and enough enclosure to feel protected. And this is where things get genuinely strange. Think about where you sit in restaurants, not where you're told to sit, where you choose to sit. where nobody's watching. Corner booth, back to the wall, clear view of the entrance. Almost everyone chooses this, every time. There's a name for it. Geographer J. Appleton called it prospect and refuge, one of the most powerful ideas in environmental psychology. The theory: humans are instinctively drawn to spaces where they can see without being seen. Think about a cafe seat beside the window. Your coffee in front of you, your back against the wall, rain outside. You can see everything. Nobody can surprise you. That's not a design preference. That's an ancient survival instinct. And the most peaceful spaces in the world are built around it, whether their architects knew it or not. A window seat looking onto a garden, a niche tucked beside a fireplace, a bench set slightly back from an open plaza. You're in the refuge. The prospect is in front of you, and your brain quietly, automatically relaxes. But here's the part architects rarely talk about. Silence isn't peaceful. Ever heard of an anechoic chamber? A room so quiet it absorbs every sound. People can't stay inside for more than a few minutes. Some start hearing their own heartbeat. Some report hallucinations. Your brain doesn't trust silence. In the wild, silence meant something was wrong. But listen to the most peaceful spaces you've ever known. A monastery courtyard, a Japanese garden, the reading room of an old library. They're not silent. There's water moving nearby, distant birdsong, the soft murmur of people in another room. Gentle ambient sound, alive, unthreatening, tells your nervous system the environment is safe. This is why fountains appear in courtyard gardens across thousands of years of architecture. Persian gardens, Roman atriums, Buddhist temple grounds. The water isn't decoration, it's neurological. In 1959, the scientist Jonas Salk, who had just discovered the polio vaccine, was struggling. Their research had stalled. His team was stuck. So he did something unusual. He went to Assisi, Italy, to a 13th century monastery. And inside those simple stone walls, with their open courtyards, soft light, and absolute quiet, the ideas began to come. He later said the architecture itself had unlocked his thinking. When he returned to California, he commissioned architect Louis Kahn to design a research institute. He gave Kahn one instruction: build me something worthy of a visit from Picasso. The Salk Institute, completed in 1965, is one of the most psychologically powerful buildings ever constructed. 2 rows of laboratories face an open marble courtyard. A thin channel of water runs down the center, pointing directly at the Pacific Ocean. No trees, no distractions, just sky, stone, water, and light. Researchers who work there consistently describe it as a place where thinking feels easier, where the space itself seems to participate in the work. That wasn't accidental. Kahn understood something most architects don't say out loud. A building can change what the brain is capable of. Here's the deeper idea, and it's a little mind-bending. When architects design a space that feels peaceful, they're not decorating. They're communicating with your nervous system in a language older than words. Every proportion, every material, every source of light is a signal, and your brain is reading all of them simultaneously, thousands of times per second. You're not consciously thinking the ceiling height is proportional to the floor area. You're just feeling it as peace. This is what great architecture actually is. A building telling the human nervous system, you can rest now. And here's what makes this even more fascinating. Peaceful spaces share one quality above everything else: predictability. Not boring, predictable. No harsh surprises, gentle transitions from inside to outside, materials that are consistent, a space that makes sense the moment you enter it. Your brain doesn't have to work hard to understand it. And a brain that doesn't have to work hard is a brain that can finally relax. Stressful spaces are almost always the opposite: chaotic wayfinding, unexpected noise, materials that clash, light that shifts without logic. Your brain is constantly recalibrating, always slightly on alert. You might not notice it consciously, but you'll feel it the moment you leave. So here's the one thing to take from all of this: your body already knows. Before your brain starts rationalizing, before you even form an opinion, your nervous system has already read the room. That slight shoulder drop, that easy breath, that feeling of, yes, this, that's data. If you ever get to shape your own space, even just the corner of a room, ask 4 questions. Where is the light coming from? Can I see the space while my back is protected? Is there a sound that feels alive but not intrusive? Does the scale feel human? You don't need expensive materials. You don't need a famous architect. You just need to understand what your body has always been looking for. The most peaceful places in the world weren't designed to look good in photographs. They were designed to make people feel something profound about being alive. And that feeling isn't reserved for grand cathedrals or ancient temples. It can exist anywhere, because peace in architecture was never about size or wealth or fame. It was always, only ever, about understanding what it means to be human. Next time you find a place that makes you exhale, stay a little longer. Look around slowly. Try to read what it's telling you, because that space was designed by someone who understood something very important. Shelter is not just keeping the rain out, it's making people feel, for a moment, that the world is okay.